Hey, what's up? So this is going to be a quick unboxing and overview video, and I'm going to tell you there's nothing in depth. For example, I'm not going to talk about the range and how they perform in the game because I haven't got the chance to test these on the field yet. So first of all, disclaimer, I purchased these by myself with my own money, so I'm going to be as unbiased as I could be. As you can see here, there are two boxes. One of them is the SCW-9 Pro and the other is the APC9K Pro SD. So yes, these are two different models, and I'm not directly comparing the same model from two different brands. We'll first take a look at the brown box. It says Maruyama with the brand name in Chinese. So yes, obviously this is the Maruyama SCW-9 Pro. The label at the bottom right says designed in Japan and made in Taiwan, but we all know who is the mastermind manufacturer behind the whole thing. The version I got is the dual magazine version for about $296 US. So let's go ahead and open this box. As you can see, this is the SCW-9 Pro. Here are the two magazines that come with the box. And it is incredibly light. This is actually so light that I would have thought the whole thing is made out of polymer, but we all know it's impossible because this is a gas magazine. The gun itself is very light as well. This is probably the lightest gas blowback SMG I've ever held in my hands. This is probably even lighter than the MP7. Wait a second. This sticker looks very familiar. Alright, now let's move on to the APC9K by Archwick. As you can tell from my box, this product is fully licensed, tip to bottom by BNT. As you can see, there's a lot of BNT logo here. The quality of the box is a lot better comparing to the Maruyama one. This cost me around $450 US. So now let's open the box now. This is the manual for both the APC9K and APC9K SD. I got the SD version, and it is protected by a really nice thick foam. It also comes with a silencer extension, which the other version doesn't have, so I will just take out the gun first actually. Oops, wow, that's pretty tight. So since this is the SD version, so it comes with a M-LOK handguard instead of a Picatinny like you just saw for the Maruyama SCW-9 Pro. The butt pad actually is different than the Maruyama SCW-9 Pro, so because it's the SD version. Just let me pick the SCW version for you to take a look. Yeah, that's different pattern, different pads for both the APC9K and the SCW-9 Pro. So as you can notice, the gun comes with all the correct markings actually. There is a BNT logo on the pistol grip. Let me extend the stock for you, and you will see there's the correct marking on the Archwick APC9. It even comes with the 9mm caliber as well, because this is a licensed product. BNT logo, and this was probably a national flag thing, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. Okay, let's put this aside. This product also comes with a pair of backup flip-up sights that do not have any BNT logo on it. Yeah, there's no BNT markings on it as well, but I did find a photo from BNT APC9 website with the exact backup sights. You can also find these iron sights in the operator manual for the real steel APC9 Pro as well. So that's a nice touch for what you paid for. It also comes with a 5.5-inch suppressor extension, just like the real APC9 SD. You can screw this extension onto this. You just have to unscrew the cap and then screw this on and then put the cap back in. So you can actually insert a tracer unit in it. Let me grab mine. However, I found that the internal wall of the suppressor extension is actually rather tight. So here I have a A-Stack Bifrost M, which is about 2.8 centimeters wide. As you can see, it only goes halfway through the suppressor extension. If I push it a little harder, and it's about here, so it's only halfway through. But it is actually pretty tight, so it can be secured tightly. However, I do notice that you cannot put this from the front of the extension. It just won't go in. So what else? Okay, let me talk about the magazine. The magazine is a TP9 or MP9 style magazine, probably more well known for the airsofters. MP9 magazine. If you didn't know, MP9 is actually one of B&T's product as well, so you can actually use the MP9 magazine on the real steel APC9. However, the airsoft version of the MP9 is manufactured by KWA, and I was told that this Archwick APC9 magazine is not compatible with the KWA MP9 and vice versa. Which I'm not surprised given the different manufacturers, right? Now let's compare both guns together. The first thing you will notice is there's no markings or trademarks on the Maruyama SCW-9 Pro because it is not a licensed product, whereas the Archwick APC9K Pro SD does have the appropriate markings, including the B&T logo, the 9mm caliber, and then at first glance and holding both in hand, personally, I would say the Archwick Archwick APC9 Pro SD feels a lot sturdier, and you can tell the quality of the material used is a lot better than the Maruyama one. The SCW-9 Pro right here, it just feels kind of cheap and very toyish. Also notice the, let me put this down first actually. Notice the ejector, what is it called again? I think it's called the ejector pin mark on the SCW-9. There's a lot of ejector pin marked on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just 9 marks on one side, and probably the same on the other side as well. That just looks very unappealing in my opinion. Whereas you cannot find any, well actually I can find one ejector pin mark on the Archwick receiver. Just not as many as the SCW-9 Pro. Also the plastic material used. Let me give you a quick look. The plastic material used on the lower receiver and the aluminum upper receiver on these guns are pretty different, I think. I personally prefer the material used on the Archwick APC9K Pro. I just feel more premium than the cheap plastic and aluminum on the SCW-9 Pro, but that is just my personal opinion. Next, I want to talk about this side of the guns. The first thing I notice here is the part right here. Not sure what it is called, but this part actually sits flush with the upper receiver on the SCW-9 Pro, while the same area kind of protruded on the Archwick APC9K, which is actually the correct design according to the real steel. However, there were a lot of complaints that this telescoping stock right here would actually interfere with this part and cause some really ugly scratches on the upper receiver, especially on this part, because of the length of the screws on the stock and how tight the stock is against the upper receiver. Let me show you something. This is my other Archwick APC9K Pro, and me being myself, I did test it on my other Archwick APC9K right here, and yes, it still happened on mine. I thought this issue was resolved already in later batches of the gun, but you can see the disgusting scratches have been caused by the other end of the screw right here. I will also show you right now how it scratches. I actually recorded the whole thing. This is probably why Archwick had this part taped up out of the box. As far as I know, this has yet to be fixed, and Archwick is basically refusing to remedy this problem, as they claim this also happened on the real steel. So I guess I'm just going to swap out the screws off the stock right here and replace them with shorter ones. Maybe I'll just never retract the stock, or I'll just never take off this tape, which is kind of a bummer, obviously. So do you want your APC9 to be as close to the real steel as possible, and don't mind getting this part scratched up, just like the Archwick one, or you would rather have it sitting flush into the receiver like the SCW-9 Pro and not have it scratched up by the stock? You can decide that yourself. Next, the stock of the guns look pretty identical, as you can see here. Oh, it's actually kind of hard to hold both guns. Yeah, so the stock looks identical, but you can still see the material and finishing are most likely different from each other. You can already see some scratches on the stock of the SCW-9 Pro right here. It was just from a feel, like less than 5 pulls from the collapsed position to the fully extended position. And from the top view, you can already tell, yep, look at this pattern right here. You can already tell this is probably some cheap pot metal. Where such problem does not seem to occur on the Archwick APC9 Pro, after numbers of pull. I can even show you my other APC9K Pro. I have pulled this stock probably like 30 to 50 times, and there's not a lot of scratches. Even though there is a little bit of scratches, I do think it doesn't really affect the overall appearance of this gun. However, it's just so obvious on the SCW-9 Pro for some reasons. Probably it has something to do with the finishing of the stock. So yeah, then I would like to talk about the recoil. The recoil spring, I'm not going to take it out, obviously. I'm not going to disassemble this thing. The recoil spring on the SCW-9 Pro is a lot stronger than the Archwick APC9K by just pulling the charging handle on the SCW-9 Pro. It gives you a feeling that this is a actual weapon and not just an Airsoft replica toy, but that is purely just on the charging motion, disregarding the overall appearance. It's just so solid. And for the Archwick APC9K Pro, I don't even want to describe it, honestly. You can just look at this. Look at this. Feels very toyish, yeah. Hopefully I can swap out the recoil spring on the APC9K SD and give it a better kick, if that is even possible. As we're talking about the charging handle, there is a minor thing that I don't like about the Archwick APC9K, is that the charging handle is kind of loose. Look at this. So as I pull the charging handle from its collapsed position or stationary position, it would just stay open like that, and it would not return back to place. Look, unless I give it a little bit more force, but it's just gonna stay open like that. This is one thing I really do not like. And on this part, on the same problem, but for the SCW-9 Pro, it will stay open. Right, that is correct. However, oh, actually, I was gonna talk about some good things about the SCW-9 Pro because this isn't happening when I was doing my test. But then, well, I guess it's the same for the SCW-9 Pro. However, I'm just gonna talk about the charging handle and recoil. SCW-9 Pro is definitely the winner on this part. Oh, and another thing I want to mention is that the amount of space between the upper receiver and the lower receiver on both guns are quite different. There is quite a lot of wobbling, look, on the SCW-9 Pro. I'm not sure if you can see clearly, but I would try to stay as steady as possible. Yeah, there's a lot of wobbling. And for the Archwick APC9K Pro, there's minimum wobbling. There's no wobbling at all, just a very tiny bit. And that's why it feels a lot sturdier for the APC9K Pro from Archwick over the SCW-9. Exterior wise, there are also minor differences, just some minor differences actually. For example, the pattern on the buttstock button, it's different. The plate behind the mag well is also different as well. And I will place my bet on the Archwick APC9K SD when it comes to clone correctness, because it is actually licensed by BNT. However, there's a place that I found the SCW-9 actually cloned correctly over the Archwick APC9K Pro, which is the bolt over here. For some reasons, both Archwick APC9K Pro and the SD version, which is this one right here, have a cutout on the bolt, which actually does not exist on the Resteel. I'm not sure why Archwick decided to do that, but the SCW-9 Pro does not have the same cutout. The other parts on both guns are pretty much identical, such as the fire selector, the bolt release and mag release. The bolts are actually quite different, aside from the markings. The indent right here, these two indents, as you can see, it's actually a lot deeper on the Archwick, probably closer to the rear steel as well. And there's one thing I don't like about the SCW-9 Pro is that there's a big gap between the bolt. As you can see my fingers behind it. There's a big gap between the bolt and the upper receiver, and that is possibly the reason why the bolt is so smooth, and the charging motion is just so much better in the Archwick. I'm not sure whether that is the reason why, because it's, as you can tell, there's no gap between the upper receiver and the bolt right here. Next, for adjusting the Hopup, these two guns use the same method to adjust the Hopup. You can directly adjust the Hopup right here from the bottom of the upper receiver, and also it is the same for the SCW-9 Pro, which is right here, this little hole right here. I'm not sure who copies who, but whatever. Then I'm gonna talk about the trigger. The trigger on these guns is probably one of the hottest topics when it comes to APC9 Airsoft replica superiority. The SCW-9 trigger does feel a lot snappier, as it is designed by Maruyama. And the trigger on the Archwick APC9K, it's a little bit mushy. I'm just gonna show you the SCW-9 Pro right now. Yeah, it's very crisp. This is the first wall, and then click. And then on the trigger for the APC9 from Archwick. Oh, sorry, it's on safety. Yeah, it's not as crisp, not as clear, and it feels like the trigger spring is actually weaker as well. They also have different shape. Oh, it's actually same. It is actually the same design for the trigger. The appearance of the trigger is the same. I know a lot of people actually prefer the SCW-9 Pro on the for trigger, and I do agree with a lot of people like that. I have found a video of a Recoil APC9 that showcased its trigger, because Archwick actually claimed that it is designed, the trigger is designed to replicate how the Recoil APC9 trigger feels like, and I found the video that showcased the same trigger, and I would say Archwick is not lying at all. The trigger is just really shitty, even on the Recoil. I'm gonna play the video right now.
Let's have a look at the factory APC9 trigger.
You can also check that video out, link in the description. I have tested the gas efficiency and the power output on these replicas, and here's the result. With 0.25 BBs, the SCW-9 Pro is shooting at about 264 FPS, and that is equivalent to about 0.81 joules. Also with 0.25 BB, the Archwick APC9K is shooting at around 274 FPS, which is about 0.87 joules. For gas efficiency, it is about 24 degrees Celsius in my room. A fully charged case SCW-9, 45 rounds mag, can fire around 145 shots, and that would last you around 3 magazines in one charge. And a fully charged Archwick APC9K 30 round magazine can fire around 74 shots, and that would be about 2.5 magazines in one charge. So when it comes to gas efficiency, the SCW-9 is definitely the winner. The Archwick APC9K mag became very cold very quickly actually, and it was hardly cycling after firing around 90 shots. Actually, sorry, 50 shots. So yeah, after 50 shots, it's just gonna be weak as hell. Oh, so lastly, the weight of the magazine of the Archwick APC9K is about 319 grams, and the SCW-9 Pro magazine weighs about 245 grams. So that's actually a big difference. That is also because the SCW-9 Pro is actually using a polymer material, the polymer shell for the magazine, so that reduces a lot of weight. One thing I do want to mention is that I really like how you're able to see how many BB rounds are in the magazine for the SCW-9 magazine, thanks to the transparent, clear transparent shell design. You can actually check how many BB do you have, and that would be really useful in the game. So the weight of the SCW-9, it's about 1,716 grams, and I haven't got the chance to weight the APC9K, but I'm going to tell you later. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. I will see if I have the time to test them on field, and maybe come back with a performance video on these things when I run them on stock settings. I'm just going to put on a red dot, and that's it. So feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions, and that's all from me. And oh, actually one last thing, this is my build for the APC9 from Archwick. Probably going to use it as well and see how it goes. I'm probably going to upgrade the inner barrel just to extend it a little bit more to get a probably better power output on this gun, since it's only shooting about 0.9 joules, and probably gonna increase that to 1.2 joules. So